Imagine if your insurance company made you pay a deductible based on fake sticker price while they pocketed the difference. In the US healthcare system, this isn't imaginary. It is the standard operating procedure. It is called the gross to net gap, and it is the engine behind a multi-billion-dollar wealth transfer from sick patients to corporate shareholders. We are told drug prices are high because innovation is expensive. We are told insurance companies are fighting to lower our costs. Today we are going to prove that the price of your medication is a fabrication. We're going to expose the big three middlemen controlling 80% of the market and show you exactly how they profit when you pay more. The drug price illusion. To understand the scam, you have to understand the list price, often called the wholesale acquisition cost, WAC, or average wholesale price, AWP. Think of AWP not as a price anyone actually pays, but as a benchmark, a sticker price that exists primarily to set the baseline for kickbacks. Manufacturers set these list prices artificially high. Why? Because the middlemen, called pharmacy benefit managers or PBMs, demand big rebates to put drugs on your insurance plan. The higher the list price, the bigger the rebate the manufacturer can offer. In fact, for some drugs like insulin, the gap between the list price and the real price is staggering, approaching 80%. The pharmaceutical industry defends these high prices with one major argument. We need this money for research and development. True, they do need money, but let's look at the data. Between 2016 and 2020, 14 of the largest pharmaceutical companies spent $521 billion on R&D. That sounds like a lot. But in that same period, they spent $577 billion on stock buybacks and dividends. They spent $56 billion more on enriching shareholders than they did on finding new cures. Another study covering 2 decades found that 15 major companies spent $2.2 trillion on selling and administration, marketing, compared to only $1.4 trillion on R&D. The data suggests the high price isn't to cure cancer. It's to boost stock prices and buy Super Bowl ads. The vertical integration. But the drug makers are only half the problem. Meet the PBMs, pharmacy benefit managers. They were supposed to be the good guys, negotiating lower prices for us. Today, 3 companies control nearly 80% of the prescription market: CVS Caremark, Express Scripts, and Optum RX. But here is the critical data point. They don't just manage drugs. They are the insurance companies. CVS Health owns the insurer Aetna and the PBM CVS Caremark. Cigna owns the PBM Express Scripts. United Health Group owns the insurer United Healthcare and the PBM Optum RX. This is called vertical integration, and it creates a perverse incentive. Typically, an insurer wants low drug prices to save money. But when the insurer owns the PBM, they can actually profit more when drug prices are high. PBMs demand rebates from drug makers to get a drug on the formulary, the list of covered drugs. These rebates are a percentage of the list price. Do the math. A 30% rebate on a $100 drug is $30. A 30% rebate on a $1,000 drug is $300. The PBM makes more money when the drug is expensive. This isn't theoretical. The FTC found that PBMs sometimes create agreements explicitly conditioned on excluding cheaper generic drugs because the expensive brand name drugs pay higher rebates. And to hide this money, they've gone offshore. The big 3 have recently set up group purchasing organizations in places like Switzerland and Ireland to aggregate these rebates. This corporate shell game allows them to extract billions in fees while shielding the data from US regulators and clients. Squeezing the competition? While they are inflating prices at the top, they are destroying competition at the bottom. Because these conglomerates own their own pharmacies, like CVS Pharmacy or Optum's mail order, they view independent local pharmacies as threats. They use a tactic called spread pricing. This is when a PBM charges a state Medicaid program or an employer $20 for a drug, but only reimburses the local pharmacy $12. The PBM keeps the $8 spread. In Ohio alone, PBMs pocketed nearly $225 million in spread pricing fees in a single year. draining taxpayer money. Simultaneously, they steer patients away from local pharmacies. They might force you to use their own mail-order pharmacy to get coverage. The data shows this works. Pharmacies affiliated with the big three PBMs have captured nearly 70% of all specialty drug revenue. Meanwhile, between 2013 and 2022, about 10% of rural independent pharmacies were forced to close, creating pharmacy deserts where people can't get care. The FTC found that for just 2 cancer drugs, PBM-affiliated pharmacies retained nearly 1.6 billion in excess revenue compared to drug acquisition costs. That is money skimming. Plain and simple. The victim. So why does this matter to you? Remember that inflated list price? Even though the PBM gets a massive rebate that lowers the real cost, your coinsurance and deductible are often calculated based on the fake high list price. If a drug lists for $1,000 but the PBM gets a $500 rebate, the real cost is $500. But if you have a 20% coinsurance, you pay 20% of the $1,200, not 20% of the real price, $100. You are overpaying to subsidize their rebates. And if you are uninsured, you are stuck paying a price pegged to benchmarks like AWP, which can be 4 times higher than what the system actually pays for the drug. The poorest patients are subsidizing the profits of the richest conglomerates. The system is designed to be confusing. They call it manufactured complexity. But the solution getting traction in Congress and states like California and Colorado is simple: delinking. This effectively bans PBMs from linking their pay to the price of the drug. Instead of a percentage, they would get a flat administrative fee. One study showed this shift could reduce annual US drug spending by over $95 billion. Until then, the price you see isn't the price. The insurer isn't just the payer. They are the pharmacy and the negotiator. And the entire system is rigged to keep that sticker price as high as possible. Thanks for watching. Check the description for the full list of reports used in this video.